Okay, so I'm gonna open up InDesign real fast. Let's see what we have here because I want to make sure this is recording. Okay, it looks like it's recording. Alright, so InDesign, applications, Adobe. Too much junk in here. So InDesign is currently opening, and it's for if you're not familiar with it, basically it gives you like similar options, just the way Photoshop or Illustrator would when you open it. I just went to open the other InDesign and had a question mark, so I had to somehow update that, I guess. That's why I went into my applications folder and just opened it from there. Just gonna throw that in the garbage. Okay, I haven't opened it since I updated it, so it's taking a really long time. So I'm going to fast forward this part. Okay. It's a little slow, so let's give it a second. Like I said, I haven't opened it since I updated it, and usually when you first go to open it, after down, it usually takes an excessively long time. Alright, so you can see that I've worked on other projects already in it, and you have your home, learn, so you have options to learn a little bit more about InDesign over on the left. Create new or open. I can open my old file from over here, or I can hit create new. I can also drop this into like a list view, and tells you some of my files that I've opened on this actual computer, and it's last opened a very long time ago. It's not the last time I used the program, it's just that the last time I have it on is this one. I don't know why, maybe my other computer, that's what I've been doing. Alright, so anyway, I'm going to put that back so I like it better like that because I like to see stuff. So I'm going to hit create new instead of open. And then you have print, web, and mobile. So if I go under mobile, they now give you, just like the other Adobe programs, options for different phones, iPads. So this is where you can actually view the document data, and the layout is really meant for that. And then they have some really cool free layouts to look at. This one is specifically for the web, and actually has different sizes that would be screen sizes. And you have the print, and for this course we're going to be using print, I would think primarily. I think that's what we all discussed. Well, I mean, it's editorial and book design, but I did say that you guys can design it for the web also. So it's going to be up to you on that. You could do like an ebook, but you could do an ebook this way too, or article. So I'm not going to do tabloids. We're not printing them all. I mean, it depends on what you guys. Some people are choosing different projects. So we are going to do letter. Over here it has untitled. You could title at this point. I'm going to change this to inches. And I'm just going to start with an 8.5 by 11 page. Just very, very standard pages. You can put as many pages as you want. You could start with 3 pages. You could start with 1 page. You could start with 8 pages. And you don't have to stick to it. Once you're in the program, you could add more pages. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 3, just so you can see that I will have 3 pages. Now it says facing pages, so you will see the pages facing side by side. So I'm going to start with number 1. I'm not going to put columns in it. That's something I will talk about later. There's margins. You know the exact margins you need. And the same thing with bleeding. But again, we don't really have anything specific that we're doing. I'm just going over some of the basic tools. So I'm going to hit create at this point. Alright, so this has a new panel, as I'm talking about here. It's a properties panel, which is really great because they'll, it's nice that they have that. Here I talk about page 1, page 2, and it looks like they changed it quite a bit. So right now I have one page. Now if I come here, I'm going to put a square on it, rectangle. This is like your same standard toolbar that you would have in the other programs. If I click here, it makes it shorter and and more, two columns instead of just the one. You have your colors here. So you have your stroke, and you have your fill. Same thing over here, and you have the no, you have gradient, and you have fill. Okay, so if I were to just draw a rectangle right here. So this rectangle, ellipse, polygon, what I'm doing is I'm holding down where the little arrows are, and it does the drop down menu. And I'm gonna just draw a rectangle right now. And I want, right now it's no color, so I'm gonna want color. And so I could do that over here, or if you look over here, you have this option now. It's telling me, because this item is selected, it's telling me everything about it, it looks like. So it's telling me the size of it right here. Like if I know I wanted a 4-inch box, all I do is type in 4, go back to 4, and that didn't change automatically. If I want this 4, say if I wanted this 5 by 5, right? I have 5, I click here, it didn't change automatically, but I could put it 5 by 5, put a 5 here. Then what I could do is select this link right here, and it says constraint proportions for width and height, which like in the other programs means that the proportions will be equal no matter what size I change this to. So if I change this to 11, 10, 2, the width and height will both change together. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to select there, I'm going to hit 2, I'm going to hit enter or return on my keyboard, and you'll see that the height also changed together. Okay, so I'm going to come back to the color issue here. We're going to fill this rectangle. I double clicked it. It's like a blue. Okay, just pick a color. Then I'm going to change the stroke. I could do it here, see, or I could do it from over here, and I can even change the width over here. Whereas before over here, I can only change the color. All right, so I'm going to hit the stroke, and I'm going to change the width. Right now it's blue. It's a blue color, see? And I'm going to select on the color. You have to be very careful what you're selecting. Here I hit stroke, and it gave me these options. Here I hit the tells me what color it is. Then I could change the color, but it's different. It's not the same as choosing the color quite from over there. So I could change it to red if I want, or something like that. But if I want it to be more selective, I could go here and the swatches option is this colors, where I can actually change the value of it, or the saturation of it. And I come here to this section, and I could change my gradient stops. These guys are called gradient stops, and I could actually put a gradient in my stroke, which is pretty cool. These are Indesign and Illustrator are getting better and better with all the new updates. This is a really cool update that they have over here. So we'll talk about the gradient stops in a minute. We'll go back to gradient, but if you want an extra gradient stop with a different color in it, you just click down, and you can add a color to that. You can adjust it. So this color is now yellow over here. Over here it's a red, and then over there it's black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so you can see what's happening. Zoom. You see over here, my stroke around my shape is pink, all the way to yellow, all the way to black. Alright, you can even go ahead and change the opacity. You can draw a lot of stuff in InDesign first, which I feel like most of you are going to be doing, or Photoshop, and then dragging and dropping it in. Or you can copy and paste it in. I mean, you have different options here. I would, at that point, flatten it to a JPEG and bring it in. I mean, you don't have to, because InDesign will accept the other files, because they're Adobe. But, alright, you have different options for corners even. I could click on the corner. You have corner size and shape. Let's see what we have here. We can change the fancy bevel, hit preview. See? Isn't that pretty cool? You can change it so it's lesser. You can manipulate a lot more in this program than you ever used to be able to. So can then change rounded. So it depends on what you're looking for. We do rounded inset. And this is changing together, but it doesn't have to. If I say make all settings the same, I put a big no sign across that, and now I could choose that one's not the same, which means if I hit OK and I look around, the other three are by themselves and that one's no longer the same. The cool thing about InDesign is it works like Illustrator. You have you know, your paths, your anchor points, stuff like that. So you have this tool, and you also have your pen tool. You know, you have this pen tool right here, and you P for pen, just like in Illustrator. Add anchor point is equal, and then minus, and then Shift plus C. These are you know, cool things to try to remember here. So I'm going to use my pen tool. I'm going to add another point to this path right here, and I'm going to add another one here, because maybe I want a triangle there. So to pull that out, what I'm going to use my white arrow, which is a direct selection tool, and I'm going to select that, and I'm going to pull it out like that. All right. You have your rulers. You can see the rulers all the way around. If I click on them, oh, what did I do? Okay. If I click on them with this arrow, it's better off because I can move these around. These are my guides. These guides will not print. Same thing over here. It will help me measure everything. Then I have, if I come to the corner, I can actually move the ruler, drag. I'm dragging it from the corner. So I'm not letting go of my mouse or my trackpad. I'm dragging it right to this size right here. So the 0 starts here, so I can actually measure what this corner is if I need to measure it for whatever reason. I say if I wanted to measure my triangle, I could do the same thing right here. I'm going to start 0 here. So the 0 is here, the 0 is here, so I know exactly the size of this. Okay. I could actually move my guides around. I could hide my guides if I go to view. Where's it at? Grid and guides. I could hide guides, which means I could bring them back. And that's the shortcut over there for that. That's a tough one to remember unless you're always using tons of guides. But you know, you can hide that one. You can hit lock so this way they don't move around accidentally. You can lock column guides, snap to guides, which means if you are drawing something that helps out. Smart guides delete all guides on the spread, so all the guides on the spread will delete. I'm going to hit delete because we don't need them. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out real quick. So I'm going to hit Command and minus because I'm using an Apple Mac. And I can use the space bar to turn into the grabber tool, just like you can in the other program. So here, stop it. Now it's not working. Alright, so I can move it around like this. I can also, oddly, go all the way down to this page, and I can go to my next spread. See, that's my next page down here. Or, if I'm hanging out up here on page 1, I'm going to zoom out even more. I can actually come over here to this area, and I can hit page 2. And then it goes to page 2, and my page 3 is over here. Now, if I try to use the space bar again, so it turns to the grabber tool, I'm trying to go to my next spread underneath like I was before, you'll see it will no longer go down because when I first opened the program, I told it I only wanted 3 pages. Now right here it tells me how many pages I want, right? 3. That's what I wanted. I wanted facing pages. If I check mark this, the pages will no longer be facing, they'll be single pages. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see what happened. Each page is a single page. Now if I go back to facing pages, that is what happens. I can actually type in that I want more pages, which is way better than this. I really like this update so far, I had to say, because this is way easier. Use that to drag. Yeah, this is definitely easier. Doesn't matter what we have to do. Alright, so I'm going to put number 6 here, and I'm going to hit enter on the keyboard. And I'm going to scroll down. You know that we have 6 pages now. Alright, so I'm going to come back up, and I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to go to you know, a text tool, or I mean, these are all different shapes. So you have your polygon. We'll do that first. Something different. Then I'm going to double click here, get a different something solid. So we have something else on this page to work with. So we're going to need you know, lots of things. So you'll notice that the stroke is really, really skinny. If I click off of this, I could barely see it. I want a fatter stroke, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see the pink line is there, right? But I'm going to select it, and when I select it, the property window comes up. It tells me my stroke is pink, and I'm going to make this a little bit fatter. Now, InDesign, I think my YouTube channel only lets me do 15-minute videos, so I'm going to have to cut this short in a couple minutes and do a part 2. But you could get the idea. You have opacity event too, which is pretty neat. I could change the opacity of the whole thing. You also have, if I go to Window and I go to Layers, which is super important in all the other programs, it's still very important in this one too. You can see I have a polygon, put the eye on it, take it off, eye on and off, I have that one. So these are my two shapes. Now I'm going to call this one blue. Oh no. Alright, double click on that. Blue shape. Wasn't letting me do it. Oh, well, it helps if you spell. Oh, I mean, that's a weird. Okay, blue shape. And this one, I'm going to change that to green shape. Okay, and I'm going to zoom back out. And that's all I have so far on this page. And I'm going to cut this video, and we're going to start over on video 2.